What's up, rad humans? Welcome to episode number 10 of Start Raving Sober. I'm going to talk about why I speak. And if you dig this stuff, please press the like button and please subscribe. That would make me so happy. Okay, today I'm going to share about why I speak, and I recently spoke at a rehab for teenage girls, and I'm going to show you some video of after speaking and it'll give you a good idea of why I speak. But what really helped me heal from alcoholism in the beginning was hearing other people's stories and relating to somebody else gave me hope. When I would hear someone's story of how far down they'd gone and then that they had recovered and were, living a life somewhat, somehow the way I wanted to live, it gave me hope, and I went, oh, okay, I can do this too. So that was really powerful with my alcoholism. But when my mental illness emerged, I felt completely isolated in all my 12-step programs because it wasn't about that. Even though people thought it was, it wasn't. And the programs didn't help at all for my mental illness. It actually made it worse because I felt more and more isolated. I felt more and more different. I did find a support group called DBSA that did help me a lot in the beginning. I didn't super relate to everybody, but I got to hear other people struggling and going through what I was going through. So when I found the internet and YouTube and actually people talking about living with co-occurring disorders, it gave me a lot of hope, and I realized, oh my God, I can do this too. I can get better. And now that I have been postpartum depression free basically for 4 years, 4 years ago was when I started the treatment that finally worked. Now I want to share my story. It's not like sharing my story of addiction and alcoholism though, because I'm not really that emotionally connected to that anymore because I'm so far removed from it. But it's very important to tell my story, and I know that I can end up back there in a heartbeat. I'm just saying that it's not really emotionally triggering like talking about my postpartum is, because it wasn't that long ago. And there's still a lot of work that I need to do. For example, I can talk about my childhood, really, yes, I'm not detached from it anymore like I used to be, but I'm also not emotionally attached to it because I've shed light in the therapy work that I've done. I've shed so much light on what happened, and I have gone through the stages of forgiveness and have healed essentially. I still have PTSD from that childhood, and I probably always will, but I have a lot of tools for that. But sharing about my postpartum is raw. And over the next few weeks, I am going to start sharing about what happened. And, sometimes people will tell me why are you such an open book? Why do you oh my God, it's mortifying. My husband is a really private person, and he's just I do not understand why you do this. But I know that the only way that I really get hope is by hearing other people that I can relate to. So if I can give hope by somebody else hearing my story. And it also heals me as I tell my story. So it's kind of a win-win across the board. And I love telling my story. I have a very strong pull for telling my story, and I did so, you know, I used to speak a lot in rehabs and, you know, about addiction and alcoholism and overcoming that. And I spoke all over California. You know, I've spoken like up in Santa Barbara and Ventura and San Diego and all over Los Angeles. But I haven't really had an avenue to speak about mental health. And it also both, because I think both is really the trick, you know, is having both alcoholism, addiction, and mental illness, because they are different, yet they mirror each other. And we can also, I feel very strongly, we also need to really take care of both, or one is going to pull down the other. So I will keep telling my story. There's also, you know, I'll put a link to an organization that's really incredible, and they're doing really incredible work, and I hope to do work with them someday. They're called This Is My Brave, and it's all storytelling, and it's all about the power of storytelling, and it's all mental health. It's all people telling their stories of living with mental illness, and, you know, how they do it, and, you know, how they're healing. And it's really amazing. And it's all different mental illnesses across the board. It's addiction, it's eating disorders, it's, you know, the bipolar, PTSD, all of it. And it's a really cool organization. So it leads me back to say that telling your story is so important if you're the kind of person that feels comfortable doing that. And I am the kind of person who feels very comfortable doing that. And I have a very strong pull to tell my story. And it helps me every time I get to help someone else with the pain that I've been through. It kind of flips it, you know, it's just really healing. So I'm going to show you this little clip, and you can see just the power that telling my story can have on me. So here you go. I just got done speaking to a rehab for teenage girls, and after speaking, a girl came up to me because I'm sorry. I talked about, you know, I told my story, and postpartum depression is a huge part of my story, and I did relapse because of my postpartum on drugs. And she has a 4-month-old, and she relapsed when her baby was a month because her postpartum was so bad, and she lost custody of her baby, and we just held each other and cried, and I got to give her hope. You know, and it's just, I'm so lucky that I never lost custody of my son. Because I totally could have. It'd be so easy. And I'm just kind of blown away, you know. I love speaking. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do. I love telling my story because I know that I give a lot of hope to other people, because I know I have, 2 of my best friends died because of alcoholism and mental illness, and my father died of alcoholism, and
so many people I know have died by suicide and overdose, and like, I'm still here, and so I think that I'm supposed to tell my story, and that's why I'm doing this YouTube stuff. And you know, I feel very strongly that I just need to tell my story and just tell it honestly, and when I do, I can help people. And I hope that that young girl calls me and I can support her. And it's just the power of just being honest and telling your story to other people. And, you know, I'm no great celebrity, or, you know, I've never even really had money in my life or anything like that. I don't have, you know, the bells and whistles that a lot of people want. But I have my story, and I have peace, and I live in a nonviolent household, and I get to raise my child and break the chain. He has not been touched, not a finger has been laid on that boy, and he lives in a completely nonviolent home with two parents who love each other and are kind to each other. And we don't even raise our voices in my house. Okay, sometimes when Bagel shits in the tub, but besides that. I'm just super grateful, and I love speaking, and if any of you want me to come speak and tell my story, I totally will. Yay! I'd love to. It's an honor. And tonight I only spoke for 10 minutes, and I've spoken up to an hour before. I've spoken in front of, you know, 20 people, and I've spoken in front of 1,000, and I absolutely love it. And it just, you know, it just takes me back to gratitude. Gratitude is so powerful. I am so grateful for what I have in my life. I am so grateful for what I have in my life. And I'm not just telling that to myself, you know, because I really am amazed at how beautiful my little world is. And I absolutely did not grow up in anything remotely like my home that I live in today. And so now I'm going to go home to that little home. Yay! Okay, you guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like, and please, please, please stay rad. Thank you so much.